Hello, welcome or welcome back to my writing channel. My name is Josie, and we are nearing the end of querying my mountaineering revenge thriller novel. I've been putting it more as like a psychological thriller in my emails that I'm sending to literary agents to try and find representation to traditionally publish. And the reason I'm saying we're kind of at the end is because I think I've sent out all the queries I'm going to send for this project. My goal is to send 100 of them, and I set that for myself because I knew it'd be really discouraging when I started to get so many rejections roll in. And I wanted to make sure that I was giving my story a fair shot, that I was putting it in front of enough agents that, maybe something could happen. And I know that I've seen people say that they've put like 150, 170 query letters out into the world for a specific story, but I'm kind of also running out of agents that I'm interested in querying. And I've got other projects that I can go to next. So this is not the end of my querying journey, but I think this is where I'm going to maybe call it good. There's one more agent I want to query that's not open for like another 12 days. So that will probably be my last one. I wanted to share a little bit of the stats of where I'm at. So I've sent out my 100 and 101st query letter today. So I'll have 102 once I send out that final one. And of those queries, 64 of them have been rejections, and 24 of them have been close no response. So that just means that I just haven't heard back from the literary agent in the time frame that they say that they will respond back to. Some of those they say, "Oh yeah, I do respond to every query," but it's like been a really long time, like past 3 months. And so I'm debating whether I should nudge them or, just kind of like let it go. The other ones say like if you don't hear back from me, you can assume it's a rejection. So it's kind of a mix of those. And then I've got 40 rejections where I received a response. And most of those are form rejections, so they're just like probably just like copy paste the same email that everyone gets. I do think that some agents have like tiered responses. So they have like forms that they'll send back so they don't have to like personalize every rejection. But there's like different levels of it. Like some of them I think might be personalized, but they might just be a different tier. So you can see a lot of times online people will post what their rejection was from a specific agent on Query Tracker, and so you can kind of compare to that and see, like, oh, I'm receiving something that not a lot of other people are receiving. But when all is said and done, almost 2/3 of my rejections were actual responses from agents, which I'm really happy with. Like, I thought there would be a lot of just like not hearing back, who knows what happened kind of a thing. So even though rejections when they come in hurt, it's nice to know that the agent like actually looked at it and considered it at least for a moment. And then I've also got 3 positive replies. So at this point, I'm sitting with 2 full requests and 1 partial request. The first request came over 2 months ago now, so I'm hoping that within the next couple of weeks I'll hear back. And then the partial request has been out for over a month, and then the other full request, it's been like a couple of weeks. So I'm a little bit nervous to actually like hear back from an agent who's read the whole story, who's into the premise from reading my query, who might have read my sample pages and they're actually into my writing. So we'll see. There's a chance that one of these 3 want to offer representation. There's a chance none of them do. So I'm sitting at a 4.5% positive rate, so including the partial request. So 4.5% of literary agents requested to see more material. I'm just stoked that 3 agents wanted to see more. Like, this is the first step. So whether or not I hear back from them, whether or not it's positive or negative, this gives me like that kernel of hope that I'm like somewhat on the right track. So that's where I'm at. I feel like a little bit torn of just like jumping in and querying another project just because I haven't heard back from any of the requests that I've gotten, any of the full or the partial. But I think at some point I do kind of want to get more queries like in people's queues because it can take so long to hear back and this process is so long. But I think I want to wait till I hear back from at least one of those 3 agents before really committing to doing that, and maybe toying around with, what project I really want to focus on next, because I think I'll do the same thing of like committing to writing 100 query letters before shelving that project and starting this whole process over again. And I'm still sitting with 36 outstanding queries. So who knows? Maybe my literary agent who wants to represent me is sitting in that pile and they haven't even looked at my query letter yet. It is currently 10:45 p.m. and I got another query response, and I wasn't going to read it. Like, my phone dinged and I just looked at it to see what the email was, because I've had this feeling recently that I'm going to hear back from one of my full requests. So I've just been like paranoid every time my phone makes a noise, which it's been so long that people have requested. So I'm like, why would they message me today or this week of all times? But it's all part of my delusions right now. But I was going to disregard it and just say, like, I don't really want to read a rejection tonight, when I saw that it was a query response. Except I saw in the subject line, because it's from Query Tracker, submission, I got another full request. So now I'm at 3 full requests and 1 partial. Oh my gosh, this feels crazy, especially because like I do kind of keep track, especially on Query Tracker, like the agents who have an account there. Because I have the premium account, I can kind of keep track of where I am in their inbox and like where they've rejected around me. This agent wasn't even on my radar, because this is the last agent that I submitted to, is the 101st agent, and they responded to me in 2 days. And then when I looked on Query Tracker, because I'm nosy, they like requested mine and they didn't address like any of like the queries above and below mine. Like, they just picked mine out of just like a big list. I can't believe it. This is I'm like still, oh my god. This will never get old. Like, getting a request is never not going to feel amazing, because you just get this creeping feeling of like someone made a mistake somewhere. I bamboozled someone into thinking my book was good. And it's just like, the more people that are requesting it, the more I feel like validated that it is a good story. It is interesting. Even if like an agent does want to offer and we go through all that, like, it is still going to appeal to a lot of people, even if it's not appealing to a lot of agents. Who knows how long it's going to take this agent to get back to me. It's kind of interesting though, because the first full and then the partial that I got, so the first 2 requests were from senior agents who've been in the business for like 10 plus years, versus the third and fourth positive reply, the last 2 full requests I got have been from junior agents, like just building up their lists. I can't really say I would prefer one over the other, because I would just prefer an agent who's excited and understands my project more than their like experience. But I just think it's interesting that I'm able to both hook older and newer agents. So let's hope they like the manuscript too. Because I have no chill, and I submitted the full manuscript as soon as I got the email. So I probably sent it to her within like 5 minutes of her requesting it. So we'll see. I'm on my way to Frisbee. We're currently stuck in like slower moving traffic to the bridge. So I figured now's a good time as any to just talk a little bit about how I'm feeling right now, because last night I got the full request and I just had this urge today to send out more query letters, just because it's so hard for me to just stop. Because I think at the beginning, when I sent out the first 10, the first 15, it was difficult for me to push through and send more. But at this point, I've sent so many out that stopping to query feels like, I don't know, not that I'm like shelving the project, because I still have a bunch of open submissions. I still have 4 agents with requested material, but not actively doing something kind of feels like I am stepping back. I am giving up, even though I'm not. So today I sent out 5 more queries. I really went through the rejected and also the close no response queries I had, and went and saw if like the agency would allow me to query other people at the agency. And so those were mostly the ones I sent out. I actually sent out one to a new agency, and I hadn't sent that one before because that agent requested the full manuscript from the get-go in the email that you sent them, and I was like feeling kind of intimidated by that. But now that I've sent out my full manuscript to like 3 other agents, it doesn't feel quite as like daunting or as weird to just do that. But I'm just having a hard time figuring out kind of my end date for querying and when I should move on. I've been querying for a long time, since August, mid-August, and is now mid-May. That's 9 months that I've been querying. So I feel like the natural stopping point is like a full year before I start on the next project. But as well, like something I'm keeping in mind is we're about to approach summer, and I think a lot of querying slows down in summer because people are on taking like holiday breaks, things like that. So maybe I could have like the summer as my stopping point And then when everything kind of reopens, start querying the new or the next book the same time that I did start this one. But I don't know. I feel like I'm just going to keep sending out queries here and there as I find other agents, as I'm like impatiently waiting for responses from, the agents that requested material. But it's just really hard to decide when it's over, when to shelve, when to call it quits. I just got another full request. I just got another full request from the like 5 extra ones I sent yesterday. I and it wasn't on Query Tracker. All of my other like requests, the full and the partial, have all been through people I have reached out to on Query Tracker, but this one was through email. I just got another full request. I have like full body chills right now. I can't believe it. I literally just got my last full request like 3 or 4 days ago. Guess I know what I'm gonna do now. Oh my god. This puts me at 4 full requests out and 1 partial. I'm speechless. I've officially received my first rejection on a full request. It came in yesterday from the agent who had liked my Quest Pit post, so in the previous video, and they went on to want the full, and then it's been just under a month, and I've now received, I think it's a form rejection, which is a little bit of a bummer because I was hoping that if I would get rejected, I'd at least get some information as to like why. Like, was the pacing bad? Was the prose just not their style? Was, something structurally in the story that like maybe I could work on? But I think it's pretty clearly a form rejection. I am taking to heart one sentence in it because it's like I'm back at the beginning of just like the whole querying process when all I was getting was form rejections on the query and I was like trying to read between the lines. I don't know if I'm doing that right now because it does seem like a form rejection. Like it is not specific to my book in that, yes, it mentions my title, but that's something that automatically can get added to a form rejection. And it seems a little bit more generic, like it's not talking about specific plot points, specific characters, whatever. But I'm reading between the lines a little bit. I'm at least hoping that like there is tiered form rejections in the sense of like just because it's something sent to a lot of people doesn't mean it's not a valid feeling that that agent has. Like it can be kind of tough because with the like rejections on the queries, like a lot of agents are just like it's not the right fit. And you're like, yeah, but are you just saying that, or like are you saying that to everyone, whether or not it's like a good or bad query? So that's why in this position I'm like, are you saying this because you actually believe it, or are you just saying it because you're trying to like soften the blow? So I'll actually read out to you because like the first bit and the last bit look to be pretty similar to her form rejection for the query, worded a little differently. I went on Query Tracker to see like what her rejections look like, and I think there was one rejection there that was from a full, and it's just this middle bit that's slightly different. But I do think that this is like a tiered and not personalized. But she said, I believe you have a great concept and accomplished manuscript here, but ultimately, I don't feel I'm the right person to champion this particular work. So, like, that's a positive thing. She thinks it's an accomplished manuscript. She thinks it's a great concept. To be fair, I'm not actually too upset about this rejection. I mean, I'm like a little bit bummed because, like, it would be great to get an offer. But because I've got 3 other fulls and 1 other partial out with 5 positive replies, I felt like I had increased my odds to the point where, like, okay, let's assume that my book is good, right? Let's assume it's great, even. That's the baseline we're going with, the assumption we're going with, because you haven't read my book. You're just trusting that I know what I'm doing. So let's assume my book's great. There's still a chance that agents aren't going to want to offer me, even if my book's really good, because it just doesn't click for them, right? Like, there's plenty of really popular, well known books out there that some people read and they're just like, not really for me. So I kind of get this feeling that with 5 positive replies, I've increased my odds of like, sure, a couple of them are just going to say, nope, it wasn't for me. But hopefully one of those 5 is who it all clicks with. So this doesn't really bother me because I have all those other chances. But I will say there's another agent that I thought would actually get back to me on my full faster than this one, because that other agent, I've been watching their like query tracker and their responses to fulls, and I think there's 2 older full requests like before mine, but she's also been jumping past mine as well. So I'm like surrounded by rejections on the fulls, which again, I think it's another reason why I'm like not that bummed about this rejection is because I can clearly see, even on full requests, like so many people are getting rejections. And I think I still had this like double edged belief of like, my book is great and someone could offer me, and I'll be like, yeah, that makes sense. I have a good book. But at the same time, I could just get rejections on all the fulls and just be like, yeah, my book wasn't ready yet. I'm not quite there yet. Like, I believe both of those things about myself, and I'd be surprised neither direction that it goes in. So yeah, I think I'm just feeling kind of like numb to this rejection. I'm just stoked that I got a response from this agent. This agent really considered my story, like that in and of itself. And I will take that sentence to face value. Like that is super complimentary. It makes me feel good to read it. So I'm going to try and like hold on to that, whether or not it's something sent to every single person that gets a full rejection. But I'll keep the hope alive. Like, I still think that there is good odds with these other four agents that something might come of it. And in fact, before I got this rejection, like, I had this renewed sense of like accomplishment with this book and excitement to do more querying because getting those two fulls requested so close together felt incredible. And it just makes me feel like I'm not done querying this book. Like, if I can find more agents, like, seems like, in the last inning, we're getting more interest. So I had this spark to do it, and now I'm feeling a little bit more meh about it. But I think in the next couple days, I do want to go through my entire list of agents that I've queried and really make sure that I'm not missing anyone in the sense of like, if I've been rejected from an agent, I'm going to go back and look at their agency, see if I'm allowed to query other agents at that agency, and try and find more agents that way to query. Because the last follow-up request I got was from an agent who, a previous agent at their agency, I done a close no response for them because they ran out of time. And so I queried the second agent and then I got the full. Even though I've queried 100 agents, I don't feel ready to kind of like throw in the towel. I think until I get maybe a couple more responses on the full, or until summer, who knows? Because I was talking about like, maybe in August, September, switching over to a new project. But until then, I think I'm going to try and just keep sending out like literally as many queries as I possibly can. But I think it's important to set a deadline so I'm not just like aimlessly kind of trickling off, and then in a year from now I'll be like, oh wait, I should query a new project. I think it's good to have like an end date, and I don't think I want to put a cap on the queries just in case I can find more people to query. I've actually made like a little list of agents that are like, if this person rejects me, this is the next agent I want to query at that agency. So I'm not gonna put a cap on the queries, and I think I'm probably just gonna put some sort of like loose thing of like end of summer, beginning of fall is when I switch to the next project. Who knows? Maybe I'll start sending out small batches of queries for whatever the next project that I'm gonna query is earlier than that. But that's gonna be my hard deadline. Like end of August, beginning September is gonna be the switch over, is gonna be when I just start focusing on a new project instead of just like dipping my toe in the water and really focusing on this one, if that makes sense. But yeah, 9 months in and we're still going strong. Like, even though I got this one full rejection, it still feels incredible that 5 agents felt like they wanted to request more material for me. So even if all of them reject, I'm going to hold on to that. It is, I feel like, an indicator that I'm on the right track. And, even if it's not this project that finds representation for me, even if it's not one of the other 4 thrillers that I've already written that I'm hoping to query, and it's like a future project, like, I feel like I am getting closer.